All right, guys, let's continue talking about fantasy and complex fiction. So, one of the things you want to do when reading complex fiction or fantasy is research the setting. Okay? So, as complex fiction readers, your first task will be to figure out not just where your story happens, but what kind of place it is. One way you can do this work is to investigate clues about the time period and important historical events, using the covers, blurbs, and details from the beginning of the story for your research. We're way past the point where we can just give a time and a place when we're asked to identify the setting. We also need to be able to describe what type of place it is. So, at the beginning of Esperanza Rising, it's not enough to say that the story is taking place on El Rancho de las Rosas I'm going to say this wrong, sorry guys, Aguascalientes, Mexico in 1930. That is how we describe setting in younger grades. But now we're reading more complex and complicated stories. So we can't just say that that is the setting anymore. We need to say what type of place this is. So let's practice a little bit. The author, Pam Munoz Ryan, gives us plenty of clues to tell us what type of place this is. Mama, the neighbors warned him just last night about bandits. Mama nodded and bit the corner of her lip in worry. They both knew that even though it was 1930 and the revolution in Mexico had been over for 10 years, there was still resentment against the large landowners. I want you to think about that for a second. And I will, as I read the next section, think about that for a second, what they're saying in the story and what that means for the type of place this is. The next part says, "Your uncles are very powerful and corrupt," said Alfonso. "They can make things difficult for anyone who tries to help you. Remember, they are the banker and the mayor." All right, so we can't turn and talk to our classmates, but you can turn and talk to a pet or a family member, or just think in your head for a minute. What kind of place is Aguascalientes, Mexico in 1930? Pause the video, think a little bit, because this is the kind of practice you're going to be doing on your own soon. All right. On the last page, what I really kind of used here to decide what type of place this is was I realized that all of this here talks negatively almost about the place, okay? We see warnings. We hear the word bandits. Mama is worried. There's a revolution in Mexico that had happened prior to this time, okay? There's resentment. Now, maybe you don't know what some of these words mean. Look them up, okay? And then we hear about the uncles. They're powerful and corrupt, okay? Again, powerful is a positive word, but the word corrupt with it is negative, okay? They make things difficult for anyone. They're the banker, excuse me, the banker and the mayor. So when I'm hearing about Aguascalientes, Mexico in 1930 is that even though the fighting is technically over here, the revolution in Mexico, there is still a lot of negativity and fighting and violence in the town. There's power issues, power struggles. People don't like the large landowners, okay? So I'm hearing a lot of negative things about the town, even though the revolution is over. It sounds like there's still some trouble happening. All right, considering who has the power in these places can also help you. So there's another question you can ask yourself when researching the places in your complex fiction novels. Who has the power here? How do you know? In this case, who has the power here? It sounds like the uncles, right? The banker and the mayor. So you could try and turn and talk, see if there's anybody else who has power. There's one more I would say from that little excerpt on the last page, and that would be the large landowners. All right, this type of work is going to be very important now for you as readers. The novels you're choosing are complicated. The places will be unusual and significant. They're going to be important. The places are going to tell so much of the story. You will want to use the strategies you know to be alert about the details of these places. So, whenever you pick up a complex novel, you'll want to research the place carefully, using the cover, the blurb, and all the details in the beginning of the story. All right, guys, good luck on the class kick. Let me know if you have any questions for today.